Ronald had suppressed him for a whole decade. With Dustin's unexpected victory and a severely injured Ronald's fall from grace, it was a joyous occasion. Finally, he could seize this opportunity to assume the position of Alliance leader. Dustin ignored the uproar. Gripping the celestial blade, he took purposeful steps toward Ronald. The black sword was still dripping with blood. The Alliance leader? An unbeatable legend? Bitch, what a joke. Dustin's eyes were red, and his expression was sinister. He looked like a demon that had just crawled out of hell, terrifying yet immensely powerful. How are you so strong? How could you possibly defeat me? Ronald knelt on the ground and struggled to lift his head. His expression was a mix of shock, terror, and bewilderment. But most of all, he was filled with confusion and disbelief. He couldn't understand why he had been defeated. With his cultivation, he was supposed to be unbeatable by anyone below the level of an ultimate grandmaster. You underestimated me and overestimated yourself. That was why you lost. Dustin raised his sword slowly. He asked condescendingly, "Do you have any last words?" Don't kill me," Ronald panicked, taking in Dustin's cold, indifferent gaze. He humbly begged for mercy. "I can give you the Celestial Pearl and give up the position of Alliance leader. I can pass on all my knowledge to you. As long as you let me live, I'll give away my power, position, and wealth. I'll give you anything you want." He had fought hard to reach his current position and ascend to the peak. He hadn't enjoyed it enough or achieved his life goals. He didn't want to die and lose everything just like that. As long as he could live, he could put down his dignity and give up everything he had. Ronald Reeds, did you ever think this day would come? Especially after you betrayed your master, acted treacherously, and framed me. Dustin remained unfazed. "I was wrong. I know I was wrong. I promised to start anew and never do anything evil again. Please give me another chance." As Ronald spoke, he prostrated desperately. He completely let go of his pride, no longer carrying the dignity of the Alliance leader. The crowd lamented at the sight they were witnessing. Nobody expected Ronald to have such a humble and cowardly side to him. After all, he usually carried himself with pride. It turned out that even gods were fearful in the face of death. "Give you a chance?" Dustin scoffed. "Let me ask you, did you ever give Sir Paul a chance? What about Mr. Robinson? And those innocent people you harmed, did you ever give them a chance? Since you didn't, what gives you the right to ask me for one? Dustin, nothing good will come out of killing me. It'll only make you an enemy of the martial world. As long as you let me go, I promise to serve you faithfully. I'll do anything you ask." Ronald was panicking. He was sweating profusely as he begged fervently. "You don't need to do anything. I just want you dead." Without another word, Dustin raised his sword high into the air. He was going to strike down heavily. "Stop." Just as Dustin was about to kill Ronald, a booming voice yelled. At the same time, an arrow shot out at an incredible speed, carrying tremendous force. With a loud clang, it accurately struck against the celestial sword. Dustin's body quivered, stopping his actions. At the same time, he cast a cold gaze below stage. Unbeknownst to him, Woody had already stood up, holding a powerful bow in his hand. He had fired that arrow. "Sir Bolts, what do you mean by this?" Dustin frowned slightly. "Dustin, you have won. Don't overdo it." Woody's expression was cold. "Don't be so eager to burn bridges and make things difficult lest it backfires. Sir Bolts, our duel was a fight to the death. Only one can emerge alive in the battle ring. That is the rule of the martial world," Dustin said coldly. "The Martial Arts Union establishes the rules of the martial world. I hold the highest position here and wield the ultimate authority." Woody's tone was extremely overbearing. His intervention was motivated by Dustin's lack of gratitude. It was also because Ronald was still useful to him. As the leader of Balerno Martial Arts Alliance, Ronald's position, status, and influence were unparalleled. If he died, the world of Balerno martial arts would be plunged into chaos. At that point, the Union would have to intervene to restore order. "Sir Bolts, the rules of the martial world should be upheld impartially. We've already signed a waiver." Your protection of Ronald seems biased, Dustin said. Enough with the nonsense. Sir Reeds is a prominent figure in the marital world and a pillar of our nation. The Union will protect a talented man like him at all cost. Woody retorted sharply. Sir Bolts, if I'm not mistaken, the Union has clear rules against intervening in disputes. You won't be able to justify your actions, Dustin reminded him. You want to try me? Very well. Woody sneered. He turned his attention toward Ronald. Then, he said loudly, Sir Reeds, would you be willing to join the Martial Arts Union? As long as you agree, we'll back you up. The Union. Ronald lit up with joy at his words. It was as if he had grasped a lifeline. He nodded repeatedly. I agree. I'll join the Union. I'm willing to work hard for the Union. This was the best chance to save his life. As long as he had the Union's backing, Dustin wouldn't dare to act recklessly, even if he had immense courage. Even though he would be losing his freedom, it was a small sacrifice compared to losing his life. There. Did you hear that? Ronald is now a part of the Union. It is only natural for us to protect him. Do you still have any objections? Woody lifted his head slightly, looking proud. So what if Dustin was talented, skilled, and powerful? He still had to bow in submission before the Union. Sir Bolts, are you playing games with me? Dustin's eaves narrowed slightly. The Union has always acted benevolent to win the people over. Since you brought up rules, then let's talk about rules. Ronald has now joined the Union. If you dare kill him, it will be a challenge to the Union's authority. Consider the consequences yourself. Woody openly issued a threat. The Martial Arts Union represented the power of the government. They stood above all guilds with overwhelming influence. Once someone became a wanted fugitive of the Union, there would be no place to hide, no matter how vast the world was. That was one of the reasons why the Union was so feared. It's fortunate that Sir Bolts is present today. Otherwise, we would have been plunged into chaos. Theodore sighed in relief as he watched Woody take control of the situation. If Ronald died, Theodore would probably be next. With the Union backing Ronald, what can that brat do? Even if he's powerful, he still has to listen to orders obediently. Quincy grinned widely. He had believed the Reeds family was on the verge of ruins moments ago. Thankfully, Woody had intervened just in time to save the situation. What a shame. I was almost there. Emery sighed, shaking his head in regret. Today would have been perfect if Woody hadn't turned the situation around. As expected of the Martial Arts Union, they were able to intimidate Dustin with just a few words. Ha. Even the most formidable figures had to bow down to the Union. Many of the martial artists in the audience breathed a sigh of relief. Although they couldn't accept Ronald's defeat, the current outcome was far from disastrous. After all, Ronald was safe now. Nobody would be that foolish to go against the Union. Dustin, I must admit that you are strong and skilled. Unfortunately, you still can't kill me. As long as I live, I haven't truly lost. Ronald struggled to get up and smirked. Let me let you in on a secret. I'm a breath away from becoming an ultimate grandmaster. I anticipate a breakthrough within the next 3 months. When that day comes, I'll turn you into minced meat. How about it? Are you mad? Afraid? Feeling helpless? But what else can you do other than await your inevitable demise? I'm now a Union member, someone you can't afford to offend. If you dare to act recklessly, you won't be the only one who suffers. Your family and friends will suffer with you. Just accept your fate. You won't be able to seek revenge, nor will you be able to change the outcome. You'll forever remain beneath my feet. By the end of his speech, his earlier humble and cowardly demeanor transformed into arrogance and confidence. With the Union backing him up, he felt invincible. Once he returned from this defeat, he vowed to repay Dustin tenfold for the humiliation he suffered. No, 100-fold. Dustin, I'm ordering you to back down now. Woody shouted. Did you hear that? Get lost. The Union is not an entity you can afford to provoke. Ronald sneered.